Hey guys, Will here. So I'm here today to review Midnighter number 3. So let's get started. So the comic pretty much starts off with Midnighter and his friend who are both usually at the bar together, and they're kind of having an exchange about like, yeah, well, I've saved you so many times, Midnighter, and you don't even realize it. And Midnighter being himself is like, well, I have a computer for a brain, so I do know how many times you have saved me, and it's not that many times, so don't get too full of yourself. And his friend pretty much comes back with, yeah, well, I always give you hints as to where to go to help people. And this Midnighter doesn't really have a comeback to that because it's pretty much true. Then we have kind of a flashback to where issue number 2 left off with Midnighter facing off these whole bunch of guys in suits, but it turns out to be multiplex, so they're all pretty much clones. Except for the one guy who made the clones. And Midnighter doesn't really care. He knows he's about to win this, and he pretty much is about to fight them. And then after that, we go back to present day, and Midnighter took his friend's hint and is at the apartment of the mom where the girl went missing. And he's searching everything. Like, he doesn't even move, he just has to stand there, but having like a computer for a brain, pretty much being a cyborg, he can analyze everything in the room, fingerprints, DNA, anything that might have been left behind by her so he can use it later on. So he does use this information pretty well, and after kind of roughing up some bad guys, he does find someone who may have a lead as to where the girl is. And in a really almost Dante's Inferno kind of way, he ties this guy up in pretty much what is a free fall down if the ropes were to break. And he's right on top of him holding a knife to his throat. And he's like, where is the girl? And the guy is just freaked out of his mind, rightfully so. And he ends up telling Midnighter, and as always, Midnighter gets his way. And in another cruel thing here that Midnighter does, he doesn't even cut the guy down, which is cruel, but at the same time, understandably so. The guy is a scumbag who deals in child trafficking. So, look at it however you want. After that, Midnighter ends up tracing the girl down and where the rest of the child trafficking people are, and it turns out they are trying to steal children to like take their life force out and kind of pretty much staying young forever. So in a real kind of comic book way, I'm gonna live forever, but the cost is I gotta kidnap kids and they gotta die for me to live. So Midnighter kills the guys, frees the girl, and the girl kind of says, well, what about that crazy costume guy who was here? He had like a whole bunch of people that looked the same. And that's a pretty good transition back into the past, like where issue number 2 left off, and it shows Midnighter just going crazy on the guys on Multiplex. And after that, it's not even like 2 panels worth of fighting, it's literally just that panel and boom, right here, they're all dead. It's a real bloodbath, and he's holding one guy over his head. And the leader of the child trafficking ring is right there, kneeled down before Midnighter, just crying his eyes out. He's pretty much over here like, no, please, if you're gonna kill me, just don't harm my face so my kids and my grandkids can see it, And Midnighter just not caring as usual. He's like, everyone already knows you're a scumbag, so nah. So he pretty much punches the guy in the face, pretty much destroying it, and the guy goes flying across the room. And that's the end of that, really. So the last few panels here is Midnighter ends up taking the girl home, and Midnighter kind of trying to show off. He's like, you're going to want to get inside quick. I can smell what your mom's cooking, and it's pretty good. And the little girl's like, well, I can smell what she's cooking too. It's not my computer powers, but my daughter powers. And she tries to invite him in. And Midnighter, although he is an emotional guy for being kind of a psychopath, he doesn't get too emotionally involved with the people after. He's just there to kind of help them out, then disappear forever. And as he mentions, for your sake, just hope that you never see me again. And that's pretty much where that story ends, and the new one continues on where we're at a cargo ship and you see Grayson and another woman kind of trying to find, they're looking for something, and also kind of taking over the ship at the same time. And this panel ends with her kind of telling them to look out, there's someone behind you. And that's where you see Midnighter come up behind Grayson and grab him, and he's like, well, It's date time. And that's where the issue ends. Overall, it was a really good issue. I do like what they do with Midnighter, showing his more emotional side, because he is a psychopath, so you need to relate to him somehow. One thing I am kind of noticing into this third issue is there's a lot of flashbacks. Understandably so, because we don't know a lot about his past, but I feel it deals too much on the relationships in a way, which, I don't know, like, I like them, but at the same time, I think you could do maybe an issue or two without them, and we'd be just fine. But overall, it was a really great issue. The art was great, the story was solid. I like how they build up the girl. Even though she's hardly there, you feel emotionally invested to every character in here. So yeah, overall, I give the issue a good, well-deserved 9.5 out of 10, and I do recommend that you pick it up. And if you like this review, please remember to subscribe, share, and like.